Here's what's happening right now at 5. Denver police officers hurt after an accident that happened right after a student protest down Colfax. An update on the fight to save one cop's life.
Also headed 5, a mother taking on UPS, fighting in the Supreme Court for the rights of pregnant women everywhere. How her case could change policy nationwide.
And Colorado State's Jim McElwain could become a Gator. How Florida spent the day wooing their potential new head coach.
Fox 31 Denver, news at 5.
It started the same as most other protests across the country, but after it ended, 4 officers were rushed to the hospital, with one still fighting for his life tonight. That officer has been in surgery for several hours this afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Deborah Takahara.
I'm Jeremy Hubbard. This all started with a bunch of students getting up and walking right out of East High School in Denver, angry at the Ferguson grand jury decision. Several CDOT cameras around town capturing their march down Colfax and to the state capitol building. A huge crowd. Denver police officers dispatched to the scene to help keep kids safe from drivers, but after the chaos subsided, 4 bicycle officers were hurt, run over when a driver accidentally hit them. The most critically hurt, John Adsit. He had to undergo hours of emergency surgery today. We have in-depth coverage at 5. Julie Hayden live at Denver Health, where the injured officers were taken. Boris Sanchez is learning new details about the protest at East High. And Tammy Vigil live along Colfax, where the accident happened. And Tammy starts our in-depth coverage tonight.
Jeremy, the protest shut down parts of Colfax here as students walked down the middle of the street. On the way, officers protecting the students from traffic needed protection themselves from a speeding driver who tore through these 2 parking lots. We now know that driver had a medical condition. Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! It started as a protest for what East High students see as injustice in Ferguson, Missouri. Hundreds of students walked down the middle of streets and blocked some of them. Then a peaceful protest suddenly turns into a potential crime scene.
He just randomly came out of nowhere and hit a bunch of cops.
This black Mercedes hits 4 Denver bicycle cops who were heading back to their regular assignment after providing traffic control for the students.
It makes me really heartbroken, especially because I saw him go down.
Aaron Jandeber says a driver headed westbound on Colfax drove up on the sidewalk and hit the officers, then sped through 2 lots and hit this Suburban before coming to a stop.
I just feel really bad for the officers, and I wish it could have been avoided.
This East High senior says the accident might have been avoided if students had kept their protest on the sidewalk instead of the street.
It's one thing to go protest peacefully at the Capitol and not disturb anything, but it's another thing to stand in the middle of the road and stop traffic.
And now what started as a protest has no doubt turned into prayers for officers injured, protecting the students' right to speak out. And Colfax here was shut down for 3.5 hours this afternoon while police investigated. They reopened it about 3:30 this afternoon. On Colfax, Tammy Vigil, Fox 31 Denver.
All right, Tammy, thank you. We want to get straight now to Fox 31 Denver's Julie Hayden live over at Denver Health with an update on the officers' conditions. Julie.
Well, Jeremy, the officer has been in surgery all afternoon. He remains in surgery in critical condition, police say, for probably another hour or so. But there is some hopeful news. First of all, 3 of the 4 injured officers have been treated and released. As for that 4th officer, well, while he is in critical condition and police say he's not out of the woods yet, the latest news from surgery is promising. Denver police officers gathered outside the emergency room at the hospital, waiting and praying.
And I will tell you, of the 4 officers that were injured, 2 are very minor, 1 is serious, and 1 is extremely critical.
4 officers assigned to bike patrol were getting ready to leave the protest march and head back to the regular 16th Street Mall assignment when they were hit. Sources tell us one of the officers was dragged by the vehicle and rushed into surgery.
3 of the 4, I think, will be fine. The other one, we obviously will keep him and his family in prayer, and hopefully things will turn out okay.
3 of the officers, including the most seriously injured, have been with the Denver Police Department 9 years and were classmates together in the police academy. The other officer, who is in serious condition, is a 17-year veteran of the department.
Of all the things that occurred, the one thing that you do not want to get notified is that one of your officers was the victim of serious injury.
Now, as for the driver, police say he obviously suffered, they believe, some sort of medical condition that caused the crash. They're not releasing anything on his condition or his name, except right now to say that he is in stable condition. And you know, ironically, the officers were injured while protecting the students who were protesting them. The police say that is their job, and the only thing they ask is for people to pray for this officer and his family tonight. At Denver Health Medical Center, Julie Hayden, Fox 31 Denver.
Plenty of people are doing that. Thanks, Julie. Well, the students' protest captured on cameras, as you can see here, up and down Colfax through Denver. A flood of students overwhelming the streets, blocking traffic and slowing drivers down. Fox 31 Denver's Boris Sanchez continues our in-depth coverage. He spoke with the students who organized the walkout today. Boris?
Deb, 3 young ladies say they feel terrible about what happened to the police officers. They say it was never their intention for anyone to get hurt because of the protests. Now they, along with school officials, are just hoping all the officers pull through.
They don't think police brutality is a thing.
Their goal was to bring awareness to the student body.
This was the only way to have our voices heard by anyone at all.
But Danayla Bridges, Darren Fowler, and Ashley Davis say their walkout at East High School today did not go as planned.
We tried to keep it peaceful.
During the walk back to school, 4 police officers were hurt trying to keep the teenage protesters out of harm's way. One of them critically injured.
My goal wasn't that. My goal was to bring awareness to something. I feel horrible for him, but I can't blame myself for it because that's not what I wanted. Like, I didn't organize a riot or say, let's go smash car windows or let's stand in front of cars so that they swerve off the road. You know what I mean?
The girls say the protest was not endorsed by the school, and though some try to talk them out of it,
they couldn't really stop us from leaving the school. We had numbers on our side.
There were so many kids out there.
Another student, Isaiah Calith, was out for lunch and saw the accident.
It's just ridiculous because it could have been avoided so easily by simply not walking in the middle of the road.
His mom, Nicole, a former East High School student, doesn't think administrators could have prevented the walkout.
I don't really know what they could have done. I mean, they're outnumbered.
The school's principal sent a letter to parents this afternoon saying that he actually followed protesters to make sure they were safe, writing, quote, "It's important for our students to join these critical community conversations, and they have demonstrated their engagement in these important issues by interjecting their voices in thoughtful and peaceful means," end quote. The principal also adding that the school's thoughts and prayers are with the police officers that were hit. Now, the district superintendent put out a similar statement this afternoon, though they refused to go on camera with us. Live outside East High, Boris Sanchez, Fox 31, Denver.
Thank you, Boris. And we have much more coverage online. We've got a slideshow of the student protests down Colfax, plus developing details and the very latest news on the injured officer's condition. It is on our homepage at kdvr.com.
There are